Alright, what is happening? How's everybody doing today? My name is Chuck, and welcome back to a brand new Warzone video. Today we're going to be taking a look at one of the more underrated guns to use in Warzone that I think you can actually make very overpowered very quickly. So I wanted to bring you guys a ultimate class setup with it here today and go over through all my attachments and why this class setup is so very good. I know me personally, just about a few days ago, apart from ranking the gun up initially, I really wasn't using it all that much, and especially not in Warzone, especially when you compare it to guns like the M4A1, the Grab 556, the MP7. I was like, why would I ever choose the Striker 45 over maybe one of those other guns? Then I got to using it and I was like, yo, this is actually incredibly good to use. So that's why I'm bringing you guys a class setup here today so you guys can check it out. Before we get any further, if you guys could do me a favor and slap a like on this video, like rating is always greatly appreciated. Subscribe with those notifications turned on so you don't miss out on any of my future videos. And make sure you guys comment down in the comment section below, what is your favorite gun to go to in Warzone? So jumping into this, my Striker 45 class setup is designed around having close range to mid-range ability with the actual gun itself, and then using my secondary to finish off some of those longer range engagements where the Striker 45 really just cannot compete with maybe some other guns, more or less like sniper rifles, you know, your marksman rifles, and also like your ARs, like maybe like the M13, the M4, and the Grau that could have some, you know, pretty high zoom optics on that can also pick you off from those ranges. It is meant to actually do that. So the first attachment I'm going to be having on basically all of my guns, even just, you know, in general, is going to be the monolithic suppressor. So the monolithic suppressor is going to be the one attachment that is going to keep you off the radar, and it's also going to show you the least amount of downsides in terms it's not going to mess with your damage range, it's not going to mess with your bullet velocity, anything else like that. Two huge things you do not want to actually take negatives for in Call of Duty Warzone. So I'm always running the monolithic suppressor basically on all of my guns just because, I mean, it's amazing. And also, I mean, I kind of run it basically on almost all my guns minus the Odin, which I did make a video about before where I run the colossal suppressor because that's the one that's specific to that gun. That's essentially the monolithic for everything else. It's like the equivalent. The second attachment on my Striker 45 is actually going to be the 400mm stainless barrel. This is going to be the barrel that gives you the most amount of range, the most amount of bullet velocity, and I also do think it helps counter with some recoil control, which is obviously very nice. I mean, it is going to be the biggest barrel you can possibly have, and ultimately in Warzone, we're trying to get a lot of range out of our guns, as much range as possible, so throwing on that barrel is going to be a necessity in my opinion. So I would highly recommend throwing that on, and if you don't have that barrel, go grind it out in multiplayer, get some kills with it before you actually take it into Warzone, because you could be at a bit of a disadvantage if you don't have all of your good attachments as soon as you get into Warzone. Third attachment I'm going to be running is actually going to be the TAC laser, and the reason I am running this is because even though it is indeed visible to enemies, it does give me perks with my aim down sight speed, my aiming stability, and my aim lock steadiness. So basically it's going to help me hit more of my shots, it's going to help me aim down sights faster. I mean, it's just going to be an all-around good attachment. The only downside is that, you know, enemies can kind of see it. So I mean, to be honest with you though, I mean, by the time they actually see it, you're already firing at them, so it really doesn't matter all that much. I mean, I never really found it to be a disadvantage. This is just my personal preference. You could always maybe not use the TAC laser and throw on something else, but I absolutely loved having the TAC laser on, and I think it made a big difference, especially when I was getting into more of those closer quarter encounters where I needed to be able to bring my gun up really fast or hip fire a little bit, or just be able to, you know, hit some shots even from, you know, mid-range. It actually does help out quite a bit, and so that is the reason I'd recommend running the TAC laser. So for my underbarrel attachment, I'm actually going to be running the Ranger foregrip, and I know a lot of people like to run the Merc foregrip, or they like to run the Operator or the Commando. There's a variety of different foregrips you can actually run, and it basically boils down to personal preference on how you actually want your gun to perform in terms of the recoil pattern control. For me, I found that the Ranger foregrip is an amazing attachment, and I think that it is probably the best suited for running the Striker 45. It gives me great recoil control, I have absolutely no issues, and it really doesn't have that many downsides. So for me personally, that is going to be my go-to pick. You guys are welcome to choose anything else, but if you're following my class setup in specific, definitely run the Ranger foregrip. And then for the last attachment to finish out our primary, but don't go anywhere because the secondary is equally as important to finish out this class setup, is that I'm going to be running the 45 round magazine on this gun. So there is the option to have a 10 round or 2 round burst sort of variant for a magazine. Never ever choose that. Don't choose it in multiplayer, don't choose it in Warzone. It is absolute garbage. The only thing you want to be able to use is the 45 round magazine on this gun, and that's because, I mean, you just need all those extra bullets. That's 15 extra, can mean the difference between life and death, getting sent to the gulag or getting sent back to the main menu. you. I'm serious, like it really can actually make that much of a difference. And when you pair all the other attachments that we put on this gun together, I mean, you got all the range, you got your tac laser to get you aiming up faster, you get some good hip fire out of it, you got a lot of control, and now you have a lot of ammo to be able to dispense downrange at people to be close, or medium range. You're pretty much taken care of from this sort of scenario. And so as I was saying, now that we've actually finished covering our primary, we're not necessarily just done with the class setup yet, because we're running overkill on this Warzone class setup, and we're going to be running overkill with the HDR sniper rifle. So normally I've liked to run different sorts of variations where I'll run maybe the dual wield snake shots, or maybe I'll run like the dual wield Renettis, or maybe I'll run anything else under the sun. Maybe I'll run a secondary SMG when I'm running an assault rifle, something like that. What I've actually taken a liking to as of recently is taking off the snake shots and throwing on the HDR sniper rifle, and I found an amazing way to be able to use this gun. For my first attachment, obviously we gotta have the monolithic suppressor. Like always, it is an amazing attachment to be able to throw on your gun. For the second one, we're going to be running the 26.9 HDR Pro barrel. Obviously, this is going to give us the most amount of range possible. I mean, we want a lot of range, and I mean, come on, like you just need to have a lot of range. Warzone is all about range and the rate you can engage people and how effective you can be from all different sorts of ranges in different situations. So having a gun that is like a sniper rifle that can perform at extreme long ranges when obviously your Striker 45 can't is going to be incredibly useful. The next thing I do happen to have on here is going to be the thermal optic. So the optic is actually going to be a little bit of a personal choice as well, much like the Ranger foregrip was on the Striker 45. I would like to say that for me, I love running the thermal. I mean, some people love running the variable, even though people like running cold-blooded or ghost. I mean, that would technically keep them off of the thermal. It is still very beneficial for me. I just like the way the sight looks. I can still pick people off, even if they do or do not have that sort of, like perk on their class setup. For me, I just like the way it looks. I just like the way it feels, and for me, it's just something that I really enjoy. So I would recommend throwing on the thermal, and if you don't like it, throw on like the variable zoom or something else like that. It's just really all up to you guys. For my next attachment in the stock category, I have the F-Tac Stalker Scout attachment. That's actually going to help me with my aim down sight speed, as this is more of a slower aim down sights gun. With the attachments we have on it right now, we need something just to be able to give us our aim down sight speed, just to, help us out a little bit. I find that I absolutely love this gun when I actually have the F-Tac on there, and it does make a bit of a difference, especially when you're trying to get off a quick little snipe on somebody because maybe the zone's coming in. It can help you just aim down sights that much faster, get on target that much faster, and for me, it is a welcome attachment in my book, and it's definitely a staple of my class setups now, just because, I mean, like, I gotta have a little bit of speed within my build. I gotta have a little bit of mobility in my build, and for the sniper rifle, if I can add a little bit of something to help me aim down sights a bit faster, that is definitely something I want to be able to do. And for the final attachment to round out our build for this gun, I'm going to be running the 9-round magazine. And I actually like to run the extended clip on this gun, and not necessarily a perk like fully loaded, because if I'm playing squads, my teammates are going to hand me basically all their sniper ammunition if they're not going to be sniping. If I'm playing solos, I'll definitely run into it enough, and I'll probably have looted up a decent amount of stuff before I get my loadout crate. So I really don't find there is a personal need for having, fully loaded on. I mean, it's cool to have those rounds right off the bat, but I mean, I'm really going to be finding a lot of rounds anyways, and my teammates are going to give me their rounds, and so that's just kind of what I've been able to do. And so I don't have to run a perk. I just end up running the 9-round magazine, and I find that to be very useful, especially when you have a lot of people, either coming towards you, or you're trying to pick off a lot of people, and you don't really want to take that time to, get out of your scope, constantly, rechamber in another magazine. It just takes a lot of time, and especially if, you don't got sleight of hand or something on. I mean, sheesh, forget it. Like, you just want to have all those rounds already there. It basically almost doubles the magazine size, and I think that's absolutely fantastic. So that's gonna round out my Striker 45 build. Thank you guys so much for coming through on today's video. This is an amazing setup, and I highly recommend actually using it. I mean, we actually got a pretty awesome Warzone victory using this, and it's really awesome. So if you guys enjoyed this video, make sure you guys slap a like on it, subscribe with those notifications turned on, comment down below, and I'll see you guys back here again tomorrow with another brand new video. Just on Triple Cap to help you, Randy, and I'm out. Peace.